What's up guys, I'm Elliot Delp and welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be doing a review on the Nikon Buckmaster II 4x12x44 rifle scope. So I picked up this rifle scope about a year ago, and it was one of the first rifle scopes that I've actually looked into buying. I put some thought into it. My main concerns were like budget, quality, performance, all those things. So I did a ton of research into it before picking it up, and I wanted to try to really, I was basically just shopping on a budget. I was trying to get the best bang for my buck overall. So I think this thing ran in about like $120, $125 at the time, and it seemed like the best deal overall. Let's start looking at the features of this rifle scope and really change camera angles to give you guys a better view and up close look at the scope.
Alright guys, so as you can see we have the Nikon Buckmaster scope right here. It's got the cool little Nikon, well, it'll focus. There we go, it's got the cool little Nikon Buckmaster logo here on the side, around the turrets. Right there is the reticle. It has a bullet drop compensator on it, which is pretty neat. I know I haven't really used this reticle for its intended purpose because I've never taken this thing out any further than 100 yards, but I'm sure it works just like all the other ones. It's second focal plane, so what that means is that when you magnify, your crosshairs stay the same size. Oh, you can't see it. Anyway, when you magnify, your crosshairs will stay the same size. This is different from first focal plane, because when you magnify on first focal plane, your crosshairs will zoom with your scope. And what that does is it lets you do range compensation a lot easier. I'm not quite sure how to do it on a second focal plane, but it's pretty simple to do it on a first focal plane. I've recently looked into it and started to learn about it. So here's the knob that changes from 4 to 12. It's pretty stiff. It has a 40mm objective, which means it has 40mm. Well, okay, it doesn't mean it has 40mm of view. It just allows for more view out when you're looking down the scope and you look further away. Its turrets. Pretty standard. Let me see if it'll focus for you. Yep. 1 click equals 1/4 inch at 100 yards. So 1/4 in MOA. Actually, that's weird. This is not in MOA. It's just 1 click equals 1/4 inch at 100 yards. Huh. That's interesting. I never really noticed that. Anyway, it's the same thing. They don't do anything cool. They don't pop up the lock or anything. You can change it with an Allen wrench. It's a very simplistic scope. Okay, so some of the features that this scope has: it's fog-proof, shock-proof, waterproof, all that good stuff. It has really good eye relief. That's about it in terms of just looking at the rifle scope. It has a 1-inch tube, so you need 1-inch scope rings to put on your rifle. Yeah, so let's get back to the table and I'll talk a little bit more about my experience with the scope and how it's performed for me, and maybe some other neat little features that come with it.
So now that you've got a more up close and personal look at the Nikon Buckmaster II, I'd like to talk a little bit about my experiences with it. So I've had a mixture of experiences, to say the least. This is the scope I had on my AR-15 when I went hog hunting. And I don't know if it was user error or the scope error, but something had happened in between me sighting the rifle in and me going hog hunting. And it was only like a week between that time, so I don't know. I could never get the scope to perform exactly like it was supposed to. Every time I went to go sight the gun in, it just would not function for me. And it was very disappointing. And so when I went hog hunting, I thought I'd gotten the scope sighted in relatively okay. But then when I got down there, it was shooting high like almost a foot, and overshot 2 pigs and kind of bummed out on the hunt, which it sucked. But then ever since then, I've had like no trust in the scope. I sent it back to Nikon to get it repaired, just in case anything was wrong with it, and the customer service was great. They did everything they were supposed to do. They took it back. They said they cleaned it real good and took it apart and whatnot and checked everything, and they said nothing was wrong with it. So I haven't put it on a rifle since I've gotten it back from Nikon, so I assume it's fine. I honestly just took it out of the packaging from Nikon right before I did this review, and hopefully it'll be fine, but I don't think it's going back on a gun. If anything, I'm either going to sell it or give it away. I just have no trust in it right now, and hopefully that would change. It might not. We'll see how it goes, if I feel like playing with it and messing with it. So yeah, that's been my experience with it. It honestly hasn't been a positive one, but that could just be me and my personal experience with it. It might just be this one Nikon product. I'm sure they make great products, and the customer service was great, and they took everything back just fine and cleaned it, repaired it. But I just have no faith in the scope, so I would not recommend it. But that's not to say they're all bad. Can't judge a whole entire scope brand on one scope. And I know a lot of people that use Nikon. One of the people that I hog hunt with, it's the only scopes he uses. He loves them. I think it's the P223. He has that one on his 6.5 Grendel, and he loves it. But other than that, that's about all I have to say about this scope. You saw everything there could possibly be to see about it. I mean, spec-wise, it's very comparable to the Vortex Crossfire 2. Slightly cheaper, about $40 cheaper. I don't know. I would probably, me personally, I'd rather have a Vortex, but that's just because of trust issues. In terms of clarity, in terms of everything, I feel like spec-wise, this scope stacks up. Warranty-wise, Nikon has a great warranty. They do everything, and it's great. So, other than that, I think that about does it for this video. Remember, subscribe, like, comment. Let me know if you've ever had a Nikon Buckmaster II or any of other Nikon scopes. Let me know about your experience with them. I'd love to hear it, and I'd love to hear that Nikon's the best scope brand in the world, but somebody'd have to convince me otherwise. Anyway, that does it. I'll see y'all next time, and remember, take someone outdoors.